The blinding glare of red and blue lights flickered erratically against the damp pavement, illuminating the night in harsh pulses. Jason Carter tightened his grip on the steering wheel, his breath steady, controlled. Outside, a lone police officer stood tall, his silhouette rigid against the backdrop of a deserted gas station. One hand rested on his baton, fingers flexing, eager. "You lost?" the officer asked, his voice laced with condescension. The corner of his lip curled, just slightly, betraying a smirk. Jason exhaled slowly, keeping his composure. "Is there a problem, officer?" The cop tilted his head slightly, studying him. "License and registration." Jason nodded, his movements deliberate. He kept his hands visible as he reached towards the glove compartment. The moment his fingers touched the latch, the officer tensed, his grip on the baton tightening. Jason froze. "I'm just getting my registration." The air thickened between them, the weight of something unspoken pressing down. The officer didn't respond, only watched, his posture unwavering. Jason retrieved the papers, careful, slow, and handed them over. The officer barely glanced at them before allowing them to dangle loosely from his fingertips. He wasn't here to check documents. This was about something else. Power. A gust of wind rustled the empty lot behind them. The night was silent save for the distant hum of traffic and the faint crackle of a police radio. "Step out of the car," the officer ordered. Jason hesitated. "Am I being detained?" The smirk faded. The officer took a step closer, tapping his baton against his palm. "You ask a lot of questions." Jason remained still, his instincts screaming at him. Then, in the corner of his vision, movement inside the gas station. A woman near the counter had her phone up, recording. The officer noticed. His jaw clenched. "Put the phone down, ma'am." She didn't move. The tension swelled between them, thick and suffocating. Then a low rumble. Engines in the distance. Two black SUVs rolled up in unison, their headlights cutting through the night like knives. The officer stiffened, his posture shifting. The vehicles came to a halt, engines growling in the silence. The doors opened in perfect synchronization, and out stepped three men in dark suits. Their movements were sharp, purposeful, exuding a presence that needed no explanation. They weren't cops. They weren't bystanders. They were something else entirely. Jason let out a slow breath, a flicker of something akin to amusement crossing his features. For the first time since the stop began, the balance of power shifted. The officer's fingers twitched at his side, uncertainty creeping into his eyes. One of the men, tall with sharp features, stepped forward, his gaze barely flicking toward the cop before locking onto Jason. "Sir, are you all right?" The officer blinked, his grip on the baton loosening slightly. They weren't talking to him. They didn't even see him. And that changed everything. The tallest man reached into his jacket, pulling out a slim black wallet. With a flick of his wrist, he held it up just enough for the officer to see the unmistakable gold emblem inside. A muscle twitched in the officer's jaw as his grip on the baton faltered. He straightened, his body going rigid. Jason exhaled, finally allowing himself to relax against the car door, his lips curling in something that wasn't quite a smile, but close. "Is there a problem, officer?" one of the agents asked, his tone carrying the kind of authority that demanded immediate obedience. The officer hesitated, his eyes darting between Jason and the man. I was conducting a routine traffic stop," he stammered. The agent raised an eyebrow. "Routine traffic stop?" He turned his gaze toward Jason. "Sir, did you commit a traffic violation?" Jason spoke for the first time since their arrival, his voice smooth and calm. "No, but I guess I fit a description." The words hung heavy in the air, unspoken accusations dancing between them. The officer swallowed hard, sweat forming at his hairline. The agent exhaled sharply, unimpressed. "You just detained a high-ranking government official without cause." The color drained from the officer's face. His partner, who had been silent until now, took a cautious step back, as if trying to distance himself from the unfolding disaster. The agent stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Do you understand what this means?" The officer opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked at Jason again, but the moment for salvaging control had long passed. The night, had never felt quieter. The gas station, once a passive backdrop, had become a stage. Every bystander was locked in silent observation. Even the woman inside, still clutching her phone, didn't dare look away. Jason adjusted his sleeves, letting the silence stretch just long enough for the weight of it to sink in. The agent beside him didn't speak either. He didn't need to. The damage was done, and the officer knew it. "You're free to go, sir," the agent finally said, his tone void of anything but professionalism. Jason didn't move at first. He studied the officer, who refused to meet his eyes. The same man who had stood over him minutes ago, eager for control, now looked smaller, stripped of authority. A bitter smile tugged at the corner of Jason's lips. He could say 1,000 things about power, about how quickly it shifts, about how a badge doesn't make a man untouchable. But he didn't need to. Instead, he took a step closer, just enough so that his words were only between them. "It shouldn't matter who I am," he said quietly. "But it does." The officer's lips pressed into a tight line. He had nothing left to say. Jason turned, stepping back into his car, the weight of the moment pressing against his chest. He fastened his seatbelt, fingers steady, pulse finally slowing. As he pulled away, the gas station lights faded in his rear-view mirror. The night stretched ahead of him, open, vast, but something lingered. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced down at the screen. A single text message. "We were watching you too." His grip on the wheel tightened. His eyes flicked to the mirrors, scanning the darkness beyond the streetlights. The black SUVs were long gone, but that didn't mean the eyes that followed him were.